The observation deck of the Kryn Ascendant hummed with the low thrum of anticipation. Lyra Sen stood at its center, her hands clasped behind her back, her posture relaxed despite the 16 plasma rifles trained on her from the shadows. She had been aboard the Kryn vessel for exactly 47 minutes, and in that time, she had neither moved aggressively nor spoken a word that wasn't carefully measured. The Kryn didn't trust humans. That much was evident in every chittering whisper that echoed through the crystalline walls, in every nervous flick of their tri-jointed limbs. Humans were unpredictable, they said. Dangerous. Too willing to throw themselves into the fire for reasons the logic-driven Kryn could never fathom. Lyra understood their fear. She had earned it. The human remains compliant, chirped Commander Vesisik from his elevated platform, his compound eyes reflecting the dim bioluminescent lighting. But compliance is a human deception. Send in the cub. A ripple of unease passed through the assembled Kryn observers. Lyra's jaw tightened imperceptibly, but she said nothing. She had expected this. Some kind of test, some psychological maneuver meant to assess her threat level. The Kryn were methodical, if nothing else. The door hissed open. Tivy entered on unsteady legs, his carapace still soft with youth, barely hardened past the translucent stage. He couldn't have been more than 6 solar cycles old, a child by any measure. His small frame trembled as he approached, carrying what looked like a neural disruptor modified for his tiny hands. The weapon was nearly as large as his thorax. Lyra's expression didn't change, but something cold settled in her chest. They were sending a child to disarm her, to see if she would hurt him, to see if humans really were the monsters their propaganda painted them to be. Approach the human, Vesisik commanded, his voice carrying an edge of cruel curiosity. Complete your task, young one. Tivy took 3 halting steps forward, his antennae quivered with barely suppressed terror. Lyra could see it in every tremor of his small body. He didn't want to be here. He had been given no choice. She knew that feeling intimately. It's okay, Lyra said softly, her voice cutting through the tense silence. She lowered herself slowly to one knee, bringing her eyes level with his. You don't have to be afraid. Tivy froze, his compound eyes still bright with the iridescence of youth locked onto hers. For a moment, neither moved. She attempts to manipulate the cub, someone whispered from the shadows. Lyra ignored them. She extended her hands slowly, palms up, showing she held no weapons. My name is Lyra. What's yours? The cub's mandibles clicked nervously. Tivy, he managed, his translator rendering his chirps into halting standard. Tivy, Lyra repeated, offering a gentle smile. That's a good name. Strong. The disruptor wavered in his grip. Behind him, Vesisik chittered something sharp and impatient, but Tivy didn't turn. His eyes remained fixed on Lyra, searching for something reassurance, perhaps, or understanding. Do you know why they sent you? Lyra asked quietly. Tivy's antennae drooped. To disarm you. To make you not dangerous. And do you think I'm dangerous? The cub hesitated. Then, in a voice so small, it barely registered on the translator. Everyone says humans are dangerous. That you fight without reason. That you don't stop until you win or you die. Lyra's smile turned sad. We do fight. But never without reason, Tivy. Never without reason. She could feel the weight of a dozen weapons still trained on her, could sense the tension coiling tighter with every passing second. But she didn't move, didn't rush. Tivy needed this moment more than the Kryn needed their answer. They told me, Tivy continued, his voice breaking slightly, that if I didn't do this, they would send me to the labor ships, that I would never see my broodmother again. There it was, the truth Lyra had suspected. They had forced this child into this position, leveraged his fear and his love to turn him into a test, a tool. Her hands curled into fists. But she kept them at her sides. Tivy, listen to me. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. I won't let them hurt you. Human lies. Vesik's voice cracked through the chamber like breaking ice. Complete your task, cub, or face the consequences. Tivi's entire body shook. The disruptor clattered to the floor, and then he ran not away from Lyra, but toward her, small arms wrapped around her neck with desperate strength, his carapace pressed against her shoulder, and she felt the frantic rhythm of his heart analog thrumming against her chest. His voice, tiny and terrified, whispered directly into her ear through the translator. "I'm too frightened to leave you alone." Lyra's breath caught. Slowly, carefully, she wrapped her arms around the trembling cub, shielding him with her body. She felt him burrow closer, seeking safety in the very being he had been sent to neutralize. "I know," she whispered back. "I know, little one." The observation deck erupted into chaos. Kryn voices rose in alarm, weapons charged with electric whines, and Vesisik shrieked orders that no one seemed willing to follow. But Lyra didn't move. She held Tivi close, one hand cradling the back of his soft carapace, the other spread protectively across his back. If they wanted to shoot her, they would have to shoot through him first, and she knew, with absolute certainty, that the Kryn would not harm one of their young. Their biology wouldn't allow it. Their society was built on protecting their cubs above all else. That was why they had sent him, and that was why she had won. "Stand down," a new voice commanded older, weighted with authority. Elder Vrinixa emerged from the shadows, her ancient carapace scarred and darkened with age. "Stand down, all of you." The weapons lowered slowly. Vrinixa approached with measured steps, her compound eyes studying Lyra with something that might have been respect. "You could have used him as a shield to escape. You could have harmed him to prove your dominance. Instead, you protected him." Lyra met the elder's gaze steadily. "He's a child. Your child. And humans don't hurt children." Tivi's grip tightened. Vrinixa was silent for a long moment. Then she dipped her head, the Kryn gesture of acknowledgement. "Perhaps we have misjudged your species, Lyra Sen. Perhaps fear has made us cruel." "Fear makes everyone cruel," Lyra said softly. "But it doesn't have to." The elder turned to Vesisik. "Release the cub from his assignment, and prepare quarters for our guest proper quarters. She will be treated as an ambassador, not a prisoner." As the tension drained from the chamber, Lyra felt Tivi finally begin to relax against her. His whisper came again. Softer now. "Will you really not leave me alone?" Lyra pressed her cheek gently against his carapace. "Not until you're ready, Tivi. Not until you're ready." And in that moment, surrounded by former enemies, holding a frightened child who had chosen trust over fear, Lyra Sen proved what it truly meant to be human.